Please like and subscribe.
It's been 20 years since the demons came to this world. That day was long remembered by those who survived. There was a huge red moon, a bloody sky, and a lot of unknown, ugly, and scary creatures flying in the sky, but their frightening and terrifying appearance was not the main problem faced by mankind, because the main disaster was that these demons were hostile to humans. They were very cruel, looting, destroying, killing, creating chaos, and bringing destruction into their path. Some people began to awaken superpowers that gave them the opportunity to resist the demons, which ordinary weapons were not. United in an organization for the sake of saving the earth and opposing demons, so for this purpose, special schools were created to train hunters to prepare future hunters from a young age. One such academy was the Disheo Dawn Hunter Academy, but like any business, there was also a division between the strong and the weak, and those with talent got everything, status, attention, and money. Those without talent and ability were mocked. That's why our protagonist was Fang Cheng, a guy who has no talent whatsoever and he was nicknamed the weakest student in the academy, and that was why he was now in this situation, beaten and chained to the fence, unable to get out and do anything, even considering that he was already a graduate of the academy. One of the guys from the company that bullied him hit Fang Cheng on the head with a metal bat surrounded by lightning, adding the next blow, which was obviously also very painful. Even after being beaten for half an hour, after he stopped beating Fang Cheng, the bully holding the bat mockingly told him as if passing judgment that according to the rules of the academy, and since he had not yet awakened his powers, he could not receive a hunter's license, so he replied to the guy holding the bat, telling him not to think he was great, just because he was able to awaken his abilities, but he did not intend to even think and listen to the sound of ice. Fang Cheng again, swinging the bat with a crazy smile on his face, asked that it must be great when you have strength, adding that he will never know and weaklings like him who do not have any strength or ability should be trampled. But to his surprise, he found that there was no punch, which surprised him quite a bit. The next moment, there was a commotion, and the screams of the hooligans could be heard as they were lifted into the air by an unknown force, as if they had been blown away by the wind. Fang Cheng was shocked by the situation and did not understand what had happened. Fang Cheng's Sager appeared, who approached the hooligans lying on the ground and, beaten by her attack, asked if it was fun to mock their classmates without waiting for an answer. The girl who approached was a medium-height dressed in a school sports uniform, had long black hair and big violet eyes that looked at the hooligans with a bored look as if she were really looking at garbage not worthy of her attention in her hand. The wind that was used to attack her before was swirling when Fang Cheng saw the girl. He was a bit shocked as she was Lenyu, the president of their class and the strongest student in the academy, and she was also his childhood friend who they had grown up with together. The hooligans were breathing heavily and struggling to stand on their feet. Turned to the girl, asking her why she was protecting such worthless trash like him, but she wasn't going to talk to them, telling them to get out. She then added in a chilling voice that froze the soul, saying that she would kill them if they didn't leave. The hooligans fried and, beyond measure, rushed away in a hurry, but they did not resign themselves to defeat and promised to take revenge on Fang Cheng, who was lucky this time, leaving the girl and the boy hanging on the fence alone. The girl, with her wind power, cut the chains that Fang Cheng was tied to the fence with. Fang Cheng thanked his childhood friend, sincerely saying that he was grateful to her for saving him. And Lin Longyun says to Fang Cheng, "Graduation exams are in a month. Yet you still haven't awakened any powers. Are you going to repeat it?" Fang Cheng, for whom this was a very painful topic, replied that he would not be able to do so as his condition did not allow him to do so. The reason he didn't tell the girl was that 5 years ago, when his parents were killed in a demon attack, his older sister had taken over the responsibility. That is why he could no longer continue to study and stay for a second year, because he could no longer spend the money that his sister earns by such hard work. After that, he told Lindy with a less than happy look that if he didn't awaken his hunter power by the exam, he would leave the academy. Lin Longyun gets angry after listening to Fang Cheng, and she says, "Don't say this again, you can't give up." Adding that he shouldn't wonder about anything as there was still a month left before the final exam and he still had time to awaken his strength. Fang Cheng looked at the girl with astonishment, not understanding why she believed in such a talentless person like him. After that, when she was about to leave, she said that if he couldn't awaken his hunter power within a month, most likely he would be a loser and a failure for the rest of his life. After which the girl left, leaving Fang Cheng alone with his thoughts. Although the words of Lenyu were not the most pleasant and direct for the guy, he was in agreement with her because he realized that if now does not change anything, then in the future he is unlikely to succeed. He decided to fight to the end, despite any obstacles on the way to achieve his goal, and to become the strongest hunter that his sister would be proud of. Time pass, and we see a blood moon shining in the sky, while the sky was dark, but despite this people did not pay attention to it and continued to live their normal lives, all because it had already been 5 years, namely since the demon attack, and it had become a common occurrence that everyone was already used to at the same time. Fang Cheng was rushing down the street home with all his might, catching glances from passers-by every day. He would run 20 kilometers to get from home to the academy and another 20 kilometers on the way back, and this time on his way home, he was thinking about how he could awaken his abilities as the weakest in the academy. After all, he really wanted to become strong so that he wouldn't be bullied anymore and so that he could look proudly into the eyes of his sister and childhood friend, who was currently the strongest in the academy. As he continued to run, thinking about his own thoughts, he suddenly came upon 2 men who were running towards him with frightened faces, shouting for the others to run away. The next instant, an explosion sounded and debris fell from the building ahead. People in fear and panic began to run away from the explosion, shouting that a demon had appeared in the middle of an empty street with no one on it. Amidst the debris and dust, a frightened girl was running away from a huge shadow standing behind her and calling for help. The creature behind her was a huge demon with 4 red eyes, a toothy grin, shoulder pads with horns sticking out of them, and a huge sword attached to his wired arm. A girl with long pink hair tied into 2 ponytails and holding a plush toy in her hands continued to run away from the demon behind her in a panic. Fang Cheng witnessed this horrifying scene, which horrified him as well because the monster behind the girl was a D-class demon named Blade who had already been wanted in their city for some time. The monster who had easily caught up with the girl smiled evilly and swung his hand, which had a huge cricket attached to it, to strike, but to his surprise and disappointment, he was unable to do so as his blow missed the girl, whom Fang Cheng was holding in his arms and save at the last moment. But because he was moving too fast and sloppy under the force of inertia, he hit the wall, landing on the ground with the girl in his arms. The demon, taking advantage of the situation, rushed towards them, and then, with a ghastly smile on his face, he stabbed Fang Cheng with his huge blade. His eyes widened in horror and pain. In the next second, he cried out loudly in pain as the demon's huge blade pierced through his stomach. This and screamed in horror, but Fang Cheng gathered his last strength and endured the unbearable pain. He shouted to the girl to run away immediately, with tears in her eyes. She replied that she would find someone to help him. The monster lifted Fang Cheng, who was on the verge of death, up into the air. The next second, he threw the guy into the wall of a nearby building with all his might, as if playing with him, hitting the wall and breaking more than one bone in the process. With a hole in his stomach, Fang Cheng cried out, painfully spitting out blood, telling himself that he was a fool to think that an ordinary person could become a hero. The monster standing in front of him had a haughty and a mocking smirk, looking at the guy as if he were laughing at him. Fang Cheng was angry because he had had enough of being ridiculed at the academy, and now the demon had decided to mock him, but despite his rage, he could not do anything again. The monster began to approach him while Fang Cheng tried to gather the last of his strength and somehow resist the demon and not give up, even though he realized that it would not do any good, but he did not have time to do anything as the monster with his huge foot swooped down on him, not giving him a chance to move. Fang Cheng finally realized the real difference in strength, which was the size of an abyss, and began to feel helpless as he could do nothing against it. Realizing that it was his last seconds of life, he sadly began to reflect that it was a pity to die like this without becoming a hunter, without becoming strong. After realizing this, he was filled with rage and the desire to survive and kill that damn demon. The world in front of Fang Cheng's eyes turned red, and only one word resounded in his mind: kill. Suddenly, another voice sounded in his head, saying that he had awakened a strong desire to kill before he died. As a result, he fulfilled the hidden condition and started the process of merging with the demon killer. When Fang Cheng came to his senses, he found himself in an incomprehensible space in which everything around him was in blood red and dark colors, which created an eerie atmosphere. In addition, the guy heard a voice that said that the end of his life had come and asked if he was ready to merge with the demon killer in order to survive and take revenge. He felt someone's touch on his body. Looking up, he saw a big red hand grabbing his arm, but it didn't end there. To his horror, he realized that another hand was already near his face. In the next instant, many red hands with large claws reached out to him. Fang Cheng was terrified and then cried out in panic. Suddenly, a large hand appeared in front of him with bloody flames burning on it, after which an unknown voice addressed him and warned him that he had 10 seconds left to die, after which the voice repeated its previous question: was he willing to merge with the demon slayer, to which Fang Cheng angrily shouted out, asking if he had any other choice. This was his only chance. Having made his decision in the next second, he reached out his hand towards someone's huge clawed hand, interlocking his index fingers. It was a leap into the unknown, as he didn't know what consequences his choice would bring, but he had no other choice. The next moment a voice announced that the fusion had been successful and that he now possessed the power of a demon slayer. The demon standing with its foot on Fang Cheng looked at the guy who should have already died, but a blood-red aura suddenly began to emanate from him. In the next instant, the red aura exploded, forming a huge red dome. Fortunately for the demon, he had good instincts and reactions, sensed something wrong beforehand, and bounced to the side. A silhouette began to emerge from the blood-red dome, and the first to appear was a clawed hand. After that, the demon saw an eye that was black, and only the pupil was red. The eye looked directly at the demon, as if looking into his soul. Following the hand that appeared from the smoke of the aura, a foot appeared, and when it hit the ground, it created a small explosion. The next moment, there was a loud explosion and a roar that shattered the wall of the building with its shock wave, causing debris to fall everywhere. An unknown voice announced that the demon slayer's form had been activated. Fang Cheng looked at his new demon killer form with astonishment and bewilderment as he looked like a demon. In addition, he had a red sign on his chest in the form of wings. He realized that he could faint at any second, which was not surprising since this was the first time he had activated this transformation. Seeing that the creature in front of him was standing still and generally did not look in good condition, the demon decided not to hesitate and took the chance. Then rushed towards Fang Cheng, and the guy's head was only one voice, insistently telling him that he must kill the enemy. The demon swung his hand and blade toward Fang Cheng as he approached him. The demon stared at Fang Cheng's hand in confusion and incomprehension as it lightly caught the blade flying towards him. He angrily and forcefully launched the demon into the air. The demon hit the ground with a thunderous thud, causing a lot of damage. Fang Cheng grabbed the demon by the neck and forcefully pressed it into the ground. He dragged it across the ground at high speed, then, with all his might, slammed it against the wall. The impact was so strong that the wall completely collapsed into small pieces. The demon whose neck was clenched by Fang Cheng's strong hand in his demon slayer form roared in pain and anger, but it wasn't going to die so easily, so in the next instant it swung its bladed hand in an attempt to kill Fang Cheng, but Fang Cheng was able to easily dodge the attack. After that, he quickly stood up and swung at the demon, counterattacking it. His crushing blow reached the target and literally smeared the opponent's face again, launching him into flight. After which, he hit the nearby building. Two guys, in incomprehension and surprise, stood nearby looking at someone's silhouette, surrounded by pillars of dust, unable to believe what they saw. Feeling a look on his face, Fang Cheng turned around, but since he was now in the form of a demon slayer, the guys he looked at knew, having already said goodbye to their lives as they thought they were finished. The voice in Fang Cheng's head was urging him to kill the people who were looking at him, which was not very pleasant as he had to constantly control his thoughts so as not to give in and fall into madness. Then, holding back the pain in his head in anger, he turned to the two guys and told them in a menacing voice to get out if they didn't want to die. While the demon was letting them go, the boys panicked and ran away, not wanting to live too short a life. The demon had already recovered by this time, even though Fang Cheng had slammed him into the wall with great force. Seeing that he had his back turned to, he decided not to miss this chance and launched a surprise attack. Fang Cheng noticed that despite the fact that he had merged with an unknown creature that had enormous power, he had managed to retain his humanity, which was quite unexpected. The demon decided to attack and swung its hand blade at the guy, emitting a vicious roar, but Fang Cheng was prepared for this and instantly turned around. He struck the monster in the chest, and as a result, he was able to pierce through it, thus destroying the demon. Immediately after the demon's death, a voice informed him that he had killed Blade's demon. After that, the voice informed him that he had obtained his hand's sword's ability. From the next moment, two bloody blades appeared on the guy's hands, which were just like the demon he defeated. As it turned out, the demon slayer's strongest ability was not super strength or anything else but the ability to take the abilities of defeated enemies, so he could upgrade and get stronger almost indefinitely. After the fight, Fang Cheng began to look at his demon slayer form. A voice in his head said that his desire to kill was gone and his human form was restored. The demon slayer's form began to disappear. Fang Cheng concluded that when he wasn't thinking about the battle, his human form would return, but at the same time it could come out sideways at times when he couldn't control his emotions. After that, he decided to get away from the scene as soon as possible, as the situation had raised a lot of noise, which would surely attract the attention of the hunters who might arrive here any minute now. So he ran away to the suburbs of Donald City. It was a rather poor neighborhood, the buildings were old and small, and people who could not afford more lived in them. This is where Fang Cheng and his sister lived. Fang Cheng entered his apartment. A beautiful girl with long black hair, who was his sister, she asked him why he was so late, but when she saw his torn clothes, she worriedly asking what had happened to him. Fang Cheng smiled and replied that she did not need to worry because he was fine. His sister told him to be careful, and reminding him that their parent were killed by demons, when they were coming home after work. And Fang Cheng also says, "Yes, I know. But there is no need for you to take tension." Said he would be more careful, adding that she shouldn't worry. Blinking away a tear that appeared in her eyes from the memories of her dead parents, the girl turned around and said, "Let's not talk about these sad things anymore, as nothing can be brought back. I've made you dinner, so you can change your clothes and go eat." Fang Cheng went to the bathroom, which, like the building itself, was as old as the washing machine, but despite that, everything was clean, and in its place, coming out of the bathroom, drying himself with a towel, he noticed a plate of food on the table, which gave off a pleasant odor. Sitting down at the table, Fang Cheng explained joyfully that it was his favorite beef. While eating his favorite ramen prepared by his sister, Fang Cheng asked her what she had for dinner, to which she hesitantly replied, as if Fang Cheng had caught her in the act, that she had eaten something at the store where she worked. Fang Cheng replied in a firm voice, loudly tapping his chopsticks on the table that she had always done, bringing him all the delicious food while not thinking about herself. Then he added that he didn't want her to bring him the most delicious food while not taking care of herself. She replied that she couldn't do it, because he was her only family. Fang Cheng put aside his chopsticks with a firm voice. From now on, he will earn money, adding that he is an adult and can no longer watch her earn money alone. These words took the girl by surprise, but seeing her brother's determination, she couldn't ignore them and show that she didn't trust him. She warmly replied with a smile that he could do it, adding that she believed in him after seeing his sister's sincere support. Fang Cheng couldn't help but smile and thank her, and then she told him to continue eating until the food cooled down. While she went about her business, as she started cleaning the kitchen, she noticed that her brother seemed more mature and responsible than before. She thought, hopefully, that she hoped he could become a skilled hunter. And find himself in the world. Looking at the screen of his phone, Fang Cheng thought about the fact that tomorrow would be a day off, which meant that he would have time to hunt demons, which would allow him to earn money since now, one could find information on demons, their species, classes, ranks, habits. Going to the official website of the hunters, he found a list of wanted demons as well as demons whose locations were known so that hunters wishing to earn money could try their hand. The distribution was by rank, for which they paid the appropriate reward, but Fang Cheng continued to worry that the demon slayer form might be a time bomb, as it was constantly trying to control his mind like a parasite, which was a big risk as it could take over his body at the most inopportune moment, and there was no telling if he would be able to get it back. But Fang Cheng didn't care about that as he was already one step away from death, and the most important thing for him now was to earn money and support his family as he had the strength to do so. Now, at the scene of the demon's murder, a few hours after the incident, it was pouring rain, and the military had cordoned off the area to investigate in the midst of the debris, as well as the forensics team, who were looking for some traces in the debris. Holding an umbrella in his hand stood a man with long white hair who was observing the situation. After that, he asked the subordinate who approached him whether they had checked the neighbor's surveillance cameras. The guy with glasses answered that as soon as the demon blade appeared, the camera in the neighborhood stopped working, but the most interesting thing was that the creature that had disarmed the cameras had left no trace, so they had no clues to move on. Upon hearing the answer, the white-haired investigator, who also had a patch over his right eye, said in an irritated voice to keep looking for witnesses and evidence, adding that they had to find who had killed Blade's demon at any cost. The glass-cloud subordinate replied depressingly that he would do so and then headed over to the forensics team to give the order. Left standing alone, the white-haired investigator pondered to himself that an ordinary hunter was unable to break the blade of a D-class demon. That could only mean one thing: there was another party involved, who was most likely also a demon. The next morning, somewhere in the ruined area, Fang Cheng continued walking, not noticing that he was being watched by the creatures, trying not to give away their presence as he continued walking. Fang Cheng suddenly came across several corpses that appeared to be hunters. They had died not too long ago, which could mean that the demons who did this were still here. Fang Cheng continued to look at the corpses, also noting that there were hollow wounds in the chest cavity. At the same time, the octopus demons kept getting closer, hiding behind the rocks, but luckily, Fang Cheng's heightened senses were also transferred to him, which helped him detect the scent of the demon aura, causing him to turn around and look at the scene behind him. The situation behind him was not very rosy, judging from the uniforms and holes in their chests, former office workers and hunters who had been killed by the octopus demons. They clearly showed their intentions, namely to fight because Fang Cheng had entered their territory. They would not let them go, but Fang Cheng was not frightened at all by the demons' formidable appearance. The octopus demons were E-class demons that were quite difficult to fight. The three octopus demons rushed towards Fang Cheng, who continued to stand still, which they decided to take advantage of by unleashing their weapons and aiming them at the guy who seemed defenseless, but despite their efforts and self-belief, their attacks failed to reach their target. Fang Cheng deftly dodged, jumping into the air. He then jumped back to a safe distance as he continued to watch the octopus demons. Fang Cheng noted to himself that after the fusion, even his human form had undergone a physical change, becoming stronger, but that wasn't the only change, as he could also control the demon aura, which he did as he gathered the blood-colored aura flames on his hand, preparing to attack and anticipating victory. The demon octopuses had already recovered and, annoyed by their past blender, were rushing at Fang Cheng with anger. To Fang Cheng's surprise, a voice sounded in his head, informing him that the enemy's attack had been detected, which automatically activated his hand sword ability. The next moment, two blood-red swords appeared from the guy's hands, which was the ability of the demon he had defeated. One of the octopus demons had already gotten close to him and was already swinging at him, but Fang Cheng dodged and struck the demon in the stomach with his hand sword, allowing him to use them without health problems. Having easily defeated the first demon that attacked, Fang Cheng saw the other two already rushing towards him, leaping into the air with the intention of attacking from above, but this was not a problem as in an instant he delivered a series of blows with his hand swords, easily finishing off both demons. Fang Cheng regretfully noted that he couldn't get any abilities from these monsters, but for the money he would get for killing them. Suddenly a rather terrifying feeling visited him. Turning around, he saw the octopus demons. There were many more in front of Fang Cheng, over several dozen of the same monsters that he had just fought. This was an ambush that Fang Cheng realized quite late, and those 3 octopus demons were just bait to lure him into a real trap, but it was too late to retreat since the octopuses that seemed endless due to their sheer number had already rushed towards him, and they didn't act alone but attacked all together as if following a tactic, but even that didn't help against Fang Cheng, armed with 2 hand swords, who was able to slice through the first wave of attacking monsters with a series of attacks. The skill and training at the academy that he performed every day to awaken his abilities were making a difference and were a great addition to his improved fitness, but as expected, the first wave was not the end of it, and even after seeing the death of their kin, the demons did not stop attacking the guy who continued to block the attacks and immediately counterattack. At some point, the octopus was completely surrounded, continuing to advance and press the numbers. Fang Cheng did not stop destroying them. It felt like he had entered the nest of these demons. He continued to attack the octopus demons. Further, he felt that if he didn't transform into a demon slayer form, even these E-class monsters could defeat him. After escaping from the encirclement, Fang Cheng began to run away from the huge crowd of demons, but his retreat was quickly ended when an octopus tentacle appeared from the ground and grabbed his leg, preventing him from moving. This was not a good turn of events. The demon's tentacles had a firm grip on his legs, not giving him a chance to move. The owner of these tentacles appeared in front of Fang Cheng. It was a D-class demon. The wise octopus possessed a huge body that was several times larger than that of an ordinary human. The demon began to mock the guy who had so easily fallen into his trap, calling him a shrimp that couldn't even fit between his teeth. The next moment, Fang Cheng found himself surrounded by countless octopuses that wanted to eat him. The guy realized that if he didn't do anything, he would be eaten alive right now, which was not a rosy prospect at all. His eyes poured blood, becoming red, and his head began to sound a creepy voice that kept repeating the same phrase, "Kill the enemies." In the middle of the crowd of octopuses, behind which Fang Cheng could not be seen, a red light began to glow, which only continued to grow as if intending to explode. The next moment, the explosion actually happened, destroying the octopus demons that were surrounding Fang Cheng. He stood in the midst of all this chaos in his demon slayer form, annoyed that he had to use this form, shouting that they should also feel like they were being killed. After he transformed into his demon slayer form, Fang Cheng continued to fiercely destroy the octopus demons that continued to attack him in waves. Blood and pieces of flesh were flying everywhere, and painful screams could be heard as the demons continued to die, seeing that the guy had turned into a demon. The huge octopus watching from the side was extremely surprised, as it had never seen such cases before. As Fang Cheng continued to kill demons, he thought about the fact that he had only expected to kill the few he ranked demons to make money from them, but he never thought that he would have to face so many opponents and even a drunk demon. So the huge wise octopus demon behind Fang Cheng began to mock him, saying that even though he possessed the body of a demon, he did not know how to use it or what it was. "A demon like you, who thinks he is above the world," said Fang Cheng, turning to the huge octopus. "How can you understand?" he asked, pushing himself off the ground and jumping into the air, swinging his hand swords to strike. Then he added, facing the demon, that someone like him can't understand how hard it is for a normal person to survive. The huge octopus demon successfully blocked Fang Cheng's attack with his scythe parrying. All of the guy's attacks he even counterattacked, forcing the guy to retreat to a safe distance. The huge octopus was impressed, saying that Fang Cheng knew a couple of good moves, but even so, Fang Cheng was slow, which the octopus decided to take advantage of by lightning fast releasing its tentacles, which flew towards the guy at great speed. After that, they wrapped around his body and bound him tightly, preventing him from moving. Fang Cheng was confused, not knowing what to do or how to get out, as he realized that the huge octopus was right. His speed was obviously not enough, while his strength was also useless. In front of the tentacles, the octopus caught Fang Cheng and shouted happily that it had caught him, holding Fang Cheng with its tentacles. The huge octopus told Fang Cheng that it would destroy his dual-hand swords, which he was so proud of, and mockingly added that it would see what he would use to fight him and see what he could do without using the swords that he was so proud of. After that, he forcefully clenched Fang Cheng's hand swords with his tentacles and was able to shatter them into small pieces. Fang Cheng was amazed that the demon was able to destroy his main weapon with such ease. But the worst news was that he couldn't materialize them again, as they would most likely be used only after some time. The huge octopus demon was not the stupidest of opponents and did not wait but attacked as soon as he destroyed the enemy's main weapon. Releasing more of its tentacles, it aimed them at Fang Cheng, after which it began to beat up the guy who could only receive blows one-sidedly. After beating Fang Cheng, the octopus forcefully threw him into the pile of stones that was a building earlier. Kneeling down after the blow, Fang Cheng noted that this octopus was much smarter than his previous opponent, and since Fang Cheng was a close-range fighter, he would have an advantage if he could find his opponent's weaknesses, devise a plan, and get close to him, but he didn't have time to devise a plan as the octopus was already beside him, swinging its side at him with the as well as mockingly asking where the guy's pride had gone, after which the octopus gave a devastating blow with its huge side, but fortunately Fang Cheng had no problem dodging the blow all the while he kept thinking about how to defeat the octopus. His gaze fell on the demon's large eye, which was located in the middle of its head, which seemed to be the demon's softest and weakest point, stood in front of the octopus, who, noticing the guy's determination, was puzzled because he didn't understand what made the guy so confident even in this position. In the next moment, Fang Cheng quickly and forcefully kicked the ground as if he were kicking a soccer ball, causing a lot of sand and pieces of earth to fly straight towards the octopus at a great speed. The effect of surprise worked, and the octopus was hit in the eye by the sand and pieces of earth before it could dodge, causing it to cry out painfully. Calling Fang Cheng a sneaky bastard, Fang Cheng was not going to stop there, replying that against a demon like him, he was not going to shy away from any means, taking the opportunity while the demon was covering his injured self with his hands. Fang Cheng gave him a strong fist punch to his stomach, causing him to cry out painfully and bend in half, after which the octopus painfully said that it was very painful, adding that he now had to get rid of this useless body. The octopus body began to separate from the body. It was parasitizing, but Fang Cheng was not going to let it go so easily as he was already almost defeated. He grabbed his spear from the ground, which most likely belonged to one of the demons he had killed earlier. He threw it with all his might at the head of the demon octopus that was trying to escape. The downed octopus let out a painful death scream, lying on the ground with its head pierced by the spear. The wise octopus planned its next action since his brain wasn't completely destroyed. He only needed some time to recover, so he decided that the perfect solution was to pretend to be dead, until his brain recovered, or Fang Cheng just walked away, but he rushed at the octopus, activating his hand swords, which had already recovered. The demon was chopped into pieces. The next moment, a voice in Fang Cheng's head announced that he had killed a wise octopus, gaining its tentacle ability. The protagonist thought to himself that although the ability was strange, it could be quite useful. Since it could be used not only to fight enemies but also in other situations such as a rope or extra hands to grab something. Suddenly a strong pain pierced his head, and then a voice said that the urge to kill was dissipating and his human form began to recover. After that, the demon slayer's form began to disintegrate after regaining his human form. Fang Cheng regretfully noted that this time the demon slayer had not activated the body's self-healing ability, leaving him not in the best condition. It really wasn't an easy victory, as luck played a huge role in his victory, and if it weren't for the sandy terrain and the octopus being a bit more careful, Fang Cheng wouldn't even know what he could have done, but luckily everything turned out fine and he won, which was the main thing. In addition, a D-class monster had to cause much more damage than ordinary monsters, which paid for all his efforts. People walking down the street would step aside at the side of a guy walking down the street. Some people couldn't even look at his direction, feeling very disgusted. The person who everyone ran away from was Fang Cheng, who had a large octopus demon head tied behind his back with many severed limbs sticking out of it and blood dripping onto the floor, creating a trail of blood behind him around his waist. He arrived at the Hunters Guild, where he could get a reward. Fang Cheng said as he approached a huge skyscraper with two huge statues standing at the entrance. He entered the Hunters Association building, and it was quite crowded with hunters standing everywhere, both singly and in groups, talking excitedly about something. Almost everyone was carrying weapons, and others had also come with their prey, like Fang Cheng, who was heading straight to the center where the deal was to take place. Since he was here for the first time, he watched the professional hunters with interest and also enjoyed the atmosphere here, which was special in its own way. The two men wearing glasses who were standing near the wall noticed Fang Cheng's prey, confirming that it was indeed a D-class demon, when they felt someone's gaze on them. Fang Cheng turned towards the men who were looking at him. Seeing them, he realized that they were the inspectors of the Hunters Association, and they were indeed talking about his prey. When they approached Fang Cheng, the men in glasses immediately began to question him about how he was able to defeat a D-class demon, despite his weak body and young age, and then began to make accusations, saying that he must have stolen it somewhere. Fang Cheng, on the other hand, calmly asked the men why ordinary students can't hunt demons, but the men weren't going to listen to him and started demanding that he show his hunter's ID, but Fang Cheng knew the rules. According to which inspectors do not have the right to demand someone's license for inspection, and understood that they just want to complicate the situation, and in a successful case to get a profit for themselves. The two men in glasses rushed at Fang Cheng as if they were prey, but their hands never reached Fang Cheng as he deftly dodged and then sprinted away to a safe distance. More hunters began to watch the scuffle, hoping that something interesting would happen. A man with a scar on his face and wearing the clothes of an adventurer watched the conflict with interest, noting that the guy carrying a heavy load on his back was able to handle the two men who attacked him, from which there was only one conclusion: God was not an ordinary student. One of the inspectors, enraged by his blunder, rushed at Fang Cheng, cursing him and asking how he dared to run away from him. The man with glasses grabbed Fang Cheng by the scruff of the neck, hoping to teach him a lesson, but he failed as Fang Cheng intercepted his arm. Fang Cheng grabbed the man's arm and hit him in the face with it, causing him to cry out painfully, clearly not expecting such a turn of events. The second inspector had already managed to approach him from behind, hoping to catch him by surprise, but to his bewilderment, Fang Cheng grabbed the hand he was about to strike and threw it over him, causing him to fall to the ground with a thud. Fang Cheng stood in the middle of the inspectors lying at his feet, but no one even rebuked him even more. Most of them praised him for his excellent skills. A man with a scarred face and adventurous clothes called out to Fang Cheng, telling him that the fight was over and saying that he had seen everything that had happened. He smilingly introduced himself as the vice president of the Hunters Association, adding that he was impressed by Fang Cheng's strength and that he was capable of defeating a D-class demon. And then both those men stand up again and say to the vice president, "He's causing trouble. Please take action. This kid has no eyes, he's wild in the Hunters Union." But the inspectors state that you have no insight, you can't gauge other strengths, instead, you initiate conflict and then report it. No excuses, you two are dismissed. The Hunters Union doesn't tolerate fools. And then Zhou Tai turned his attention to Fang Cheng. He remarked, "He's quite skilled, you must have some outstanding hunter ability." Fang Cheng replied modestly, "I don't possess any hunter abilities. Cheng was cautious not to reveal his true abilities as a demon slayer to outsiders. Some onlookers were surprised, wondering how he could defeat two strong men while carrying a heavy load. They suspected that he was hiding something. The vice president, however, believed in Fang Cheng's sincerity. Zhou Tai guided him to claim his rewards and thanked him for his contribution. Fang Cheng was introduced to Xiao Nan, an officer in charge of exchanging bounties. Xiao Nan possessed the incredible ability of telekinesis, allowing her to handle heavy corpses with ease. Vice President Zhou Tai made a playful comment that from now on, if you want to collect the reward, just come to Xiao Man directly, there is no need to queue up, and Xiao Nan is still single, so you two might as well chat. Xiao Nan blushed in response to the remark. Bang Cheng expressed his gratitude to the vice president, saying thank you, Vice President. I may not have any special hunter abilities, but I appreciate your support. Vice President Zhou Tai shared his own journey, revealing that he had achieved his position by honing his physical abilities, including fighting and forging skills. He had become a prominent figure among hunters despite lacking unique abilities. Fang Cheng was impressed by Zhou Tai's achievements, realizing that it was truly remarkable to rise in the Hunters' Union based on physical prowess alone. Xiao Nan completed the calculation of Fang Cheng's reward for the D-rank Wise Octopus was 100,000 yuan, and for the 10 E-class Octopus Demons, he received 30,000 yuan plus a 10,000 yuan incentive bonus totaling 140,000 yuan. The funds were promptly transferred to his bank card. Cheng received the card and expressed his gratitude to Xiao Nan. Vice President Zhou Tai offered Fang Cheng some parting advice, saying that looking at your performance today, your skills may be rough, but next time you come back, give me a call and I'll teach you some moves. Xiao Nan eavesdropped on the conversation, finding it dull as it revolved around combat and practice, yet she couldn't deny her attraction to Fang Cheng. Pondering his romantic interests as Fang Cheng left, he couldn't help but think about his sister, who had high hopes for him. He was eager to return home and share the news of his successful bounty hunt. After receiving the reward, Fang Cheng returned home under the dark sky, with the twinkling stars above casting a calm glow over the city, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment as he had received his first large sum of money in his life. The thought of how happy his sister was when she heard the news brought a smile to his face, but his peaceful walk was suddenly interrupted when he stopped in his tracks to watch a news report on the street screen. The headline sent a message that chilled his spine. Recently, a video of two demons fighting each other exploded. On the internet, a demon fighting his own kind is called the Demon Lord. Fang Cheng's mouth fell open in shock as he watched the video footage and wondered, wasn't this my previous fight with him? The Blade uploaded the video online. The point is that it is on the news, which he continued to watch while the news report delves into the incident, and it shows an interview with the deputy commander of the Demon Hunter Division, Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf declared that demons were never friendly creatures, so please be careful. We, the Demon Hunter Division, are here to hunt down the Demon Lord's thesis and give him a death sentence. Fang Zhang's expression turned from shock to worry, and he couldn't believe that his transformation had become a matter of public knowledge. Fame is definitely not a good thing. He thought I couldn't reveal my identity or else I would get into trouble. Fang Cheng finally arrived at his house and pushed open the door impatiently as he called out, "What delicious food my sister cooked." His sister replied with worry in her voice, "I watched a video on the internet, and there is a monster called the Demon Lord. You have to be careful on your way home." Fang Zhang didn't want to draw more attention to the situation. He ignored the topic and gave the bank card containing his winnings to his sister, saying that this bank card contains 140,000 yuan. I earned this money by hunting demons. After training, I have become much stronger than before and can now kill demons. His sister looked surprised. Fang Cheng's sister asks him if he may awaken his hunting powers, which he replied by saying it's just happened. His sister told him that fighting demons is dangerous. She thinks it's hard to imagine how much Fang Cheng is suffering. Fang Cheng says, "That is fine, just take the money." Fang Cheng's sister told him that okay, and she'll use this money to pay off our debts. Because after their parents died, they borrowed a lot of money from their relatives. Speaking of their parents, he asks his sister if she knew the demon that killed them. She then reveals that their parents were killed by a mysterious demon in the form of a flame that has left them with debts and questions that it was not answered, as the whereabouts of this mysterious killer remained unknown. Determined to search for answers and perhaps challenge Fang Cheng, he believes that this demon is something else. When I am strong enough, I must take revenge on an experienced hunter like Gu Tai of the Hunters. But his sister urged him to focus on living peacefully together for now as they are. The next day, Fang Cheng found himself rushing to Dongju Hunter Academy, where he was so busy making money that he forgot his class as he ran through the hallways. His speed was so great that he lifted a woman's skirt by mistake. When he finally arrived at his classroom, Fang Cheng's classmates were full of excitement about the news of the demon lord praising the Blue Devil's courage to save humans. Some even suggested that the demon who protects humans with a sense of justice should be called a demon. Demon Lord Fang Cheng couldn't help but feel the weight of his unwanted fame. He thought my classmates knew it. My life is tiring. I'm really not the demon lord. Lin Longyu approached him and commented. You seem to be a little stronger than the past 2 days. Fang refused. Qing noticed her as a hallucination, but he couldn't help but admire her sharp intuition. Interrupting their conversation, a yellow-haired man sneered at the lovebirds talking early in the morning. I think the lesson I taught you that day was light, Longyu replied. But Fang Qing interjected, describing the yellow-haired man as a golden retriever. This comparison enraged the yellow-haired student, causing him to throw out the entire ramen. Fang Qing, with lightning-quick reflexes, grabbed the bull and quickly struck him in the face of the assailant, silencing the unruly classmate in the wake of Fang Cheng's swift and impressive takedown of Tianyu. As his classmate lay on the ground in shock and defeated Tianyu, anger erupted, causing him to hit the ground in frustration, then stand up. He quickly got to his feet and rushed forward, throwing a punch while expressing his disdain. To skillfully evade Tianyu's punch. He sneered at him, saying that all the speed you got. Tianyu quickly kneeled down and then sent him crashing into the wall. Tianyu couldn't understand where Fang Qing gained such amazing reaction time and strength. Fang Cheng tells Tianyu, today is different from the past when you used to bully others, you should have thought about the day you'd pay the price. And Fang Cheng's classmates are also surprised that Fang Cheng has become powerful so quickly. Lin Longyun is also surprised to see this and thinks, in theory, even if Fang Cheng trained in private and learned combat skills, he couldn't beat Qin Tianyu. His punches and kicks are strong. Did he awaken some kind of body-strengthening ability? Just as the excitement was reaching its peak, the academy teacher arrived, put an end to the commotion, and announced, stop fighting. Follow me outside the academy and organize a demon hunting exam today. As the teacher announced the upcoming hunting exam, some of the students were surprised at the prospect of encountering real demons among them. Tianyu received help from his comrade and vowed to Fang Cheng that he would never let him off the hook. He admitted his negligence and stated that he would not be a real man if he weren't seeking revenge. They needed to eliminate Tianyu, considering that he was truly evil. The scene moved to the portal, where the exam was about to start. The teacher explained that there was no time left for the hunter graduation exam and that the academy had organized a demon hunting exam to stimulate their potential. They received good grades upon entering the portal, and they would face a grass-class demon. Theodore mentioned that if they could kill him, they could absorb his essence, which would enhance their potential. Some of the students underestimated the challenge, with one boasting that he could beat 10 of them. Since the F-class monsters were similar to wild beasts, he warned you not to compete with him, emphasizing that all the F-class demons were his to deal with. Long Yu took the opportunity to ask Fang Cheng. Fang Cheng, what do you think of this experiment? Pang Qing applied cautiously. It is not the F-class demons that are dangerous, it is the students who compete with each other that should be cautious. The professor's voice interrupted the discussion as he shouted. The exam place is open. Get ready to enter in an orderly manner. The scene turned to the exam location, where the students were eagerly rushing to confront the F-class demons. As they were making their way inside, they came across a pile of dead men's bones. For a long time, you can say, I didn't understand. I was fascinated and asked what was so great about the bones of the dead. Fang Cheng explained that it stands to reason that F-class grass demons are very weak and generally have difficulty killing humans. And then Fang Cheng felt something coming towards them, and Lin Long looks back and sees some beasts are there. Lin Long thinks, that's unusual that they come already. And Lin Long says to Fang Cheng to hide behind her. But Fang Cheng rolled her to let him do it. And then he quickly attacks those demons, killing them with one blows. Behind him two monsters move towards Lin Long to attack her. But Fang Cheng sees this and quickly kills both of those monsters. Seeing this, Lin Long gets surprised and thinks, is this Fang Cheng? He thinks that compared to the Blade and the Vice Octopus he met earlier, these F-ranked grass demons are much weaker. Lin Long was surprised and asked, how did you get so strong in just a few days? Fang Cheng just told her that people change, so don't think too much about it. The two of them start absorbing the essence dropped by the grass demon. Lin Long noticed something and looks towards the front. Then, when Lin Longyun looked forward, she was shocked small because two people were running very fast in front, and there was a devil behind them, and seeing Lin Longyun say, I didn't realize there were other demons, I'll do it this time. Fang Cheng says, wait a minute, this is no ordinary demon. This D-class tree demon. Seeing that demon, Lin Longyun said, why there is a D-rank demon in an E-rank experimental site. We see a D-class tree demon has appeared. And seeing that demon, Lin Longyun says, why is there a D-rank demon on an E-rank trial site? And Fang Cheng says, now is not the time to cry over it. Stay away from this guy. And Lin Longyun think this is the first time Fang Cheng has ever touched her. And then all three of them come there and tell Fang Cheng that only the coward runs away, a true hunter must face demons, life, and death head-on. And all three of them move towards the demon, and Lin Longyun, looking at all three of them, asks Fang Cheng, did you beat Chen Tianyu's brains out? And Chen Tianyu says, a bunch of frogs in a well. Today I'll show you what it means to kill high-level monsters, and I want Lin Longyue to see my strength and make Fang Cheng feel like he's out of my league. And Fang Cheng's servants are secretly watching all this from a distance. And those people are wondering, will Chen Tianyu really defeat them? That is a D-rank demon. Chen Tianyu is confident. He must have the strength to kill that tree demon. Maybe a miracle will happen. Then Chen Tianyu moves forward to attack the demon, but the demon does not care, and the demon catches the boy and throws him on the ground. Seeing this, Chen Tianyu's friends get scared, and Chen Tianyu asks them, what are you guys doing? Help me. But then that demon attacks Chen Tianyu again and throws all three of them away. Lin Longyun is watching from a distance and says, Chen Tianyu has the strength of an average E-rank, but he's not strong enough to fight a tree demon. And Fang Cheng says, the level gap is big. And Chen Tianyu's condition becomes very bad, and the demon is very happy. Now both Lin Longyun and Fang Cheng are moving towards that demon, and Lin Longyun says, let's care of the tree demon. We can get a lot of materials from killing it. And Fang Cheng says, D-rank demons are great prey, so we can't give them away. And all of Fang Cheng's classmates are running away in fear. Then after this, Lin Longyun attacks that demon, but the demon does not care about it, and seeing this, Lin Longyun thinks, my wind energy can't even scratch the tree demon. The tree demon's body is hardened with dead wood, like armor. The only way to break it is to find a hole in it. And the demon makes an attack that is very powerful, and Fang Cheng gets hit by that attack and says, in human form, I can't beat the tree demon. And with Longyue around, I can't even transform into my demonic form. And Lin Longyun goes to save Fang Cheng, but then the same demon appears in front of her, and Lin Longyun thinks, my strength is at least an E-rank, but I can't even hurt its bark. And then Fang Cheng starts running away from Lin Longyun because, even together, they will not be able to defeat him. But the demon attacks them again, and Fang Cheng gets trapped and tells Lin Longyun not to worry about me, just go away from here. But Lin Longyun does not want to leave Fang Cheng, and now Fang Cheng is trapped at that place, and Lin Longyun says you should just wait for a while, I will break this wooden trap and save you easily. But Fang Cheng has a different plan, and he thinks that before Longhua breaks the wood prison, I must take it down. And that demon again attacks Fang Cheng, but Fang Cheng attacks that demon, woodcutter. Activate killing knives, and he cuts off the demon's hands, but it doesn't make any difference to the demon because he regenerates his hands again and attacks Fang Cheng again. And seeing this, Cheng thinks it has regeneration ability. While it's recovering, I need to find a way to kill it quickly. And Fang Cheng again attacks that demon, and still the demon does not care about Fang Cheng's attack, and the demon attacks Fang Cheng again, and only then Fang Cheng gets a chance now. There's a gap in the movements, the perfect time to counterattack. Tentacle plus blade, fusion skill, and seeing this attack, the demon gets scared and directly cuts the blade of that demon, and Fang Cheng kills that demon and thinks that it is over. And then he hears the same strange voice, you have killed the tree demon. Obtain an additional, accelerated regeneration, skill. And Fang Cheng thinks, in addition to the exact ability, I also gained an additional regeneration skill this time. The tree demon's essence, this is the best material for stimulating potential, it's perfect for me. And then there is a blast, due to which Fang Cheng gets a little scared, and Lin Longyun appears in front of him and says, Fang Cheng, hold on, I'm coming to save you. But when she looks ahead, Fang Cheng is fine, and Lin Longyun says, you killed the tree demon. And Fang Cheng says, I must have awakened a body strengthening ability, I seem much stronger than before. The tree demon got careless, and I defeated him in a few moves. And Lin Longyun says, but you were just an ordinary man without any talent before. You've become so strong in just a few days, unbelievable. And Fang Cheng does, it's just D rank strength, not really impressive. There are still A rank and S rank awakeners in the world. Compared to them, we're not even close and not worth mentioning. Then after that, the teacher says to all the students, today, I'd like to praise the class presidents Lin Longhua and Fang Cheng. They fought bravely against the tree demon in the trial and never backed down. All the students get surprised and say, Fang Cheng was just a bystander, does he deserve to be praised by the instructor? And Chen Tianyu thinks, that cheap bastard Fang Cheng, I should have been the one to kill the tree demon. And then someone comes there and says, Fang Cheng is from your class, right? Someone's looking for him. And Fang Cheng thinks, who would come to me except for my sister? I have a bad feeling about this. And after this, we are shown the lone wolf, and a man tells him that he has come here. Then the lone wolf asks Fang Cheng, you're here pretty fast, you're Fang Cheng, right? And Fang Cheng says, yes, why is a demon hunter looking for me? And the lone wolf says, there's a tip-off from the public. 4 days ago, a teenager saved a little girl from a demon blade. And we've been able to trace the profile. We found out it was you who saved the little girl. And Fang Cheng laughingly replies, it's a small matter. Bravery is a traditional virtue of our country, after all. But the lone wolf says, but do you know, after you saved the little girl, a blue demon killed that demon blade. And Fang Cheng gets shocked after listening to the lone wolf and doesn't know what to say.